when a person becomes aware of a behavior that doesn't make them happy, or a behavior that is holding them back, that's not benefiting them, they tend to get this urge to want to move from that behavior very quickly. Their thought process is very clear. You've identified for me a behavior that's holding me back from success, from growth, from development. Now, tell me what's the solution? What's the behavior that I can change into for me to develop and to grow and to be successful? And for some things, it's that straightforward. Like, for example, if you're not sleeping well, then you have to change that behavior. There's no question about it. But there are behaviors where the behavior itself is not the problem. It's the motivation behind it. And these are many behaviors that we have that hold us back. It's the intention behind that behavior. For example, people pleasing. It's not necessarily about behavior. It's not necessarily about quality. In fact, it is of benefit to many of us, to our relationships, to our jobs. People pleasing is driven by the intention behind it. For those who do it because they want to, because they're intentional about the benefit they're going to get from it, because they desire to get something out of it and it's within their control, within their boundaries, then it's a healthy way of people pleasing. And we do it all the time. When you're in a relationship for the first time, you try to please the other person so that you can be able to build that attachment with them. At work, with your new colleagues, you want them to like you, so you might do some things for them. You might do a favor for a colleague and make it as a deposit so that later you can withdraw with another favor that you will ask of them. And so people use people pleasing in a beneficial way, in a healthy way. But then there are people who overuse it or who go overboard with it. They don't know how to say no. Their people pleasing is driven by necessity, it's driven by need. They need that person to like them. They need that person to accept them, to love them, to not disagree with them. And so they say yes even when they don't want to say yes, because they have to say yes for that other person to like them. And so you want to understand the work is not in the people-pleasing behavior, it's in the motivation driving that people-pleasing behavior. So why do you need people to like you? That's where the work is. Because then once you understand that and it forms part of your values in your identity system, then when you're in a situation where you want to please somebody, you're going to ask yourself a question: do I want to please this person? Do I want to say yes? Or do I have to say yes? And why do I have to say yes? So you'll start having those internal dialogues and different interactions, and you'll start learning when to say yes and when to say no. But if you use people pleasing and you just want to change the behavior itself, then you're likely to change into a more negative behavior. This is what I mean. Because you don't want to be a people pleaser, and your indication of people pleasing is saying yes, then now the opposite of that is saying no, so that you're not a people pleaser. And so every situation you're going to use it as an opportunity to not be a people pleaser. And so now you're saying no, even in situations that would actually benefit you when you say yes. So changing the behavior itself, in a lot of the behaviors that perhaps we want to change, you need to go back to the motivation, to the intention, to the drive behind that behavior. Once you unlock that, then you'd be able to know how to respond in different contexts when that